then there is a project which is coming up, probably might be shared on this channel, we are not sure yet, but that would require us to make a smaller press brake, for which we have the materials over here, and we are going to just get it over to the milling machine and face all the edges. And this side is very much straight and parallel. Okay, so to tilt the head, we need to crack these three boards. This part we also would like to cut it to length, such that we can be ready with this particular part once this V is complete. This is our mechanical hacksaw. Guys, there is one thing which we have not mentioned, is we were doing it earlier at 30 degrees for a 60-degree included angle, and we were very wrong. Hey guys, welcome back to Oxtos Metalworks. Welcome back to another video. And this video, we are basically, what we are going to do is make a press brake for our 50-ton hydraulic press. That one of the first few videos that we have published in this channel is about our hydraulic press, which is 50-ton, which is a DIY project which we did at the start of our machining career. So at that same point of time, we required a press brake. So what we did is we made this particular press brake. Now this is one part of it. As you can see, it's quite heavy because it is quite large. Now if I have to give you a approx measurements, it is close to 18 inches, and this is the block which we have made back then. So it has a 45 degree right over here, a 60 degree and a 30 degree. This is a bigger 45 degree and a small cut over here. So back then, friends, we did not have a shaper or a milling machine, so we had this made from a machine shop in the year somewhere around 2020. And since we did not had a lathe or a shaper or a hydraulic a lathe or a shaper or a milling machine back then, we have cut a piece of pipe, and we did this a very crude way, because back then we did not had much tools in our hands. So these are just some random 3x8 bolt, and we have drilled this pipe. As you can see, this pipe is drilled, and for threading purpose what we did is we welded a nut. So this served us good for a long period of time, and I'm sure that it is going to serve me for the remainder of my time here in Oxtos Metalworks. But then there is a project which is coming up, probably might be shared on this channel, we are not sure yet, but that would require us to make a smaller press brake, for which we have the materials over here. I will show you the materials, but before that, why we need it is because we are going to make some boxes for our workshop, and these pieces which we have got are smaller pieces relatively, which comprises of this die. Now this is going to be the press brake die, and we are going to just get it over to the milling machine and face all the edges to make it perfectly square, and then we are going to use the milling machine to cut the notch. Now the notch which we are planning currently is a 60-degree notch, 30-degree on either side, and then this is going to be the brake part, which is the V part. We will have to cut this to length. Okay, as you can see, it's a little bigger than the block down, so we have to cut it, and once we cut it, we are going to machine the V portion in either of these sides. So this is going to be the assembly, and the final part would be our lathe work. The final part of the project is going to be the lathe work, where we have got this off-cut piece of 45 millimeter solid steel bar, which we are going to bore this out. Since we do have a lathe machine now, we can easily bore this out to 32 millimeter, which is the size of the ram that we have on our hydraulic press. We are going to drill this out, bore it, and then we are going to just drill it out on edges and tap for a M8 or a M12. The other side will have a slot which will be cut, and because this is mild steel and this is mild steel, we are going to put it like that, and we are going to weld this entire thing together to form this complete unit. It's quite heavy, so let's not waste much time over here. Let's jump to the milling machine, set this all up, and start machining this press brake. Okay, so currently we have set up this machining vise over this milling machine, and we have indicated this parallel to the axis of the mill, and this is set up. We have a ER40, call it chuck holder, which we are going to use for this job. So we are going to set up the job right now in the vise. Because this piece is not machined, we are going to use a strip of aluminium, because we do not have a copper wire in the shop, so we are going to use a piece of aluminium and tighten the part. Okay, I think this will do. So what we are using for this project is a APMT 1135 inserted indexable holder, which is a carbide holder, and this we find a cheaper way to mill away materials, because carbide end mills of this particular size are very expensive. So this we find very cheap, this indexable end mills. Okay, so this is done. Unlock the spindle. Let me bring you in closer so that you can see how we are machining this. Okay, all right. So we have the part set up. This is the first time that we are using this. So this is 0, and we are going to, in our knee, we are going to mark this also as 0. So let's start the mill, ensuring that this runs in the proper direction. All right. So we are going to give a depth of cut of 1 millimeter, or rather I would like to go half a millimeter depth of cut. Let's see. Let's give some cutting oil. So this side is mostly done, and before we are going to take it out from the vise, let me just clean it. So this is a file. Just knock off these burrs that we have. I think this will do. Alright. Okay. This is mostly clean. Now, so the part which has already been machined is down, is facing down. And guys, this is not very critical that we will need to make it very an accurate rectangle. The only reason why we are facing it, because once we have this over in the hydraulic table, we don't want this to wobble. So that's the general idea. So let's tap this part in. This is in now. Lock the vise, and we are going to proceed with our next cut. So we would like to consider that this is touch off. And we need to give in one more millimeter, half a millimeter, sorry, which makes it overall diameter reduction to by 1 millimeter. And we are going to continue this cut. Use some oil. So before we take this out, again, let's see if there is any burr. There isn't much burr because these corners are rounded off. So most of the time what is happening is these corners are getting left out, but there are no burrs which we can feel. So we are going to go with this, and alright, so these two sides are done as of now. So the remainder two sides we need to do. Now we don't need this because we have these two parallel faces which we can use to have this part properly set up in the vise. Before we just put it, we don't want any chips inside the vise jaws, because that is going to affect with the concentricity of the part, and we want this part to be as true as possible. Not that it is required, but we are doing this because it is a good practice. So we are going to start from this end. Now I believe this won't touch the part at all, and it is not touching, so we need to give in some depth. Okay, this is the depth which we gave, not much. I think we need to give in more. All right. So because this is the final pass, if we see that this part is not cleaning up good, which it isn't, so we are going to use this as our as the front part, because the remainder all three sides are very cleanly faced, and this is not facing much, as we can see. All right, so this part is done now, facing, that is all four sides. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to regroup. The mill is not so clean now, is it? So what we need to do is we need to clean this entire milling machine, and then we need to have this head tilted to 30 degrees for a total included angle of 60 degrees, which we need to cut the V-ways. So let's just clean the mill, regroup, and then we will meet on the milling machine. Guys, extremely sorry, before we could set this up to do the V-ways on the block, one crucial part we skipped is face both ends. Now these are saw cuts, and these are not very much precise, and because we are machining this on all four sides, so why not we should do the other remaining two and make it all six sides. So here we have finishing high speed steel with a very large cutting side, and we are going to use this at slow speed to face this two ends. Ideally, in such circumstances, we usually go to our shaper machine to do this edges, but we are not feeling like it, so there would be a shaper video later. But as of now, what we are trying to do is not change the part a lot of times, and do this in just one go, because this is already set up on the milling machine. So we need to give a depth of cut. Okay, so we are giving in some oil as well. After this, what we would do is we are going to make a finishing pass on this side and flip over and do the other side. Okay, but this part has some scoring, as you can see. I believe this is visible. Nothing which we can feel through fingers, but we are going to do a climb cut and get a proper finish. This is the other way. Okay, let's just do a climb cut. Okay, much better results as we have did the climb cut. Okay, so now what we want is to indo this particular part, but before that we are gonna clean the vise. The vise is mostly clean. All right. So the problem which happens is that sometimes this chuck, milling vise becomes magnetic, and then it attracts a lot of milling chips. And this side is, I show you how this side looks, and this is actually quite flat, and this side, this is not so flat. I can show you. This is way out of spec. I hope it is visible in the camera. And this side is very much straight and parallel. So more than this side needs machining. So we are going to put this part back. That's again the wrong side. Okay, so mostly this is done. This face is very much clean. So we are just going to give in just 0.28 of a millimeter, and we are going to do a climb cut. I hope this will clean up the face completely. So this part is complete. Now we are going to regroup, tilt this head like this 30-degree, and we'll come back and we'll join once this is done. Okay, so to tilt the head, we need to crack these 3 bolts, and this is the first time we are doing something like this, and they are damn tight. This is very tight. I guess we need a cheater bar. Just to knock this loose. Okay, and this is the last one. This handle must come off, it is coming in the way. So. All right. Still tight. So I believe this head is now loose. Now we need to go to 30 degrees. I hope it is visible. I bring you in close if it isn't. So the spanner is here. Okay, the other way. It feels tight. Let me just loose this a little bit more. Yeah. And we are going to use our ratchet. So this is the ratchet which will make our life a little easier. We need to bring this a little down. This head is heavy. Because this head is heavy, going down is a lot easier than going up. Okay, so this is 30. As you can see, all we need is to tighten this all three bolts and we are good to go. Okay, this is done, and now this head must go back. Yeah. Need to pull this a little up. These guideways, what we are doing is we are cleaning it and lubing it. Why? Because these guideways were not properly oiled, and so we are taking care of our investment, because this is going to be with us as long as I am alive. So we want this to be working in perfect condition as long as we own this. So cracking open these 4 bolts. Yeah, we'll take this all the way back. You have to go in the back of the machine now. Okay, I believe these are not the bolts. So these are the bolts. Okay, I made a mistake. Bring this back. Okay. I think we will go a little more back. Let's see. Wrong way. Oh, this is as much as it can go because it is hitting the top. The top is hitting the wall. So okay, we are going to leave it as is. Now the only thing left to do is to align this part to center, and then we are good to go. The only problem that we are facing now is these controls are way up and I can't reach it. This on off switch is also so far, I can't reach it. We have to climb over the milling machine, I believe, to switch on and off the machine. But I cannot reach the brake with my hand. Oh God, this is going to be one tough job. So okay, so let's start with the first cut. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we have set up a stop here. I hope it is visible in the camera, and it isn't. So let me just show you guys. Uh, what we want to do is we want to create a stop such that when it comes on this end, it stops automatically. So we can do a small demo. Is that okay? It automatically stopped. Here also we have made a stop, and here also we have a stop, so we have two stops in place. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to advance the cutter. We remove the coil lock. Okay, so now it would work. We are going to go in just a little bit, put the coil lock back in, and we'll start the machine. I guess we need to go in a lot more. And this has started cutting, as you can see. Okay, so while we are cutting this part, we also would like to cut it to length such that we can be ready with this particular part once this V is complete. So for that we would need to mark it, and we need to go over to our electric hacksaw. So we are just taking a crude measurements. Uh, so this measures 23 and a half, and this measures 23 and a half. So we are good to go. So it's time for the next pass. So this is our mechanical hacksaw, and we need to put the part in. So it's going to take a while for this thing to cut. So we are gonna get the coolant on. So this is the drip coolant on, and we are gonna start the cut. Okay, so this is the part which we are going to keep aside for later use, and this piece is done. Once the milling machine is done with cutting the V, we are going to have this in the milling machine such that we can cut the V over here. So basically, as we have tilted the head, most of it is done. So we have mostly, what you can see is we have roughed out the shape. So I bring you guys in to show you how this looks. So here you can see this we have already roughed out, and we are roughing this side now. And one last thing before we finish this entire build, what we will need to do is we'll need to tilt this head, I mean this head back, which means the normal standard milling setup, and we will need to run an end mill down like this, guys. There is one thing which we have not mentioned, is we were doing it earlier at 30 degrees for a 60-degree included angle, and we were very wrong, because if we are going to bend something, for example a box or something like that, we need to go to 90 degrees, because that is the degree is 90 when you are actually doing some boxes. So we are going with the 90-degree cut, so the head is tilted to 45 degree instead of 30 degree. So once we are done with this, I am going to get back to you to show how the progress looks like, and we are going to indo the part and do the other end, and last we are going to do the channel with a small 3 or a 4 millimeter end mill. We will have to see what we have in stock, and we are going to finish this part. All right, this side we did. Okay, the finishing has come out great, and now we have to do this side just a little bit, not much, because this side is already machined. We have already done the roughing part. I take it out from the vise and show you. So as you can see, this side we did, there is a little bit of burr, but that's okay, it will go with the file. And this side is done. I don't know how much you can see on the camera, but there is a step right over here on this side. So we are going to indo the part. So the part is now rechucked. We are going to use the file just so that we get a better picture. Alright, so this side is already done, and we have filed this, so that you can see it is perfectly flat. This side, however, there is a slight ridge where my nail is picking up, and we need to machine this side with this particular tool. So first things first, we need to align the cutter. Okay. So the cutter is aligned, I believe. This is the first part we are taking. All right. So as you can see, this V block is done. Only thing remaining in this part is to mill a bottom notch right in the middle of the V where these two angles meet. We need to create a V profile. To better illustrate this, we can see this tool holder. Now this tool holder has a V. In the end there is a relief. So this relief could be anywhere between 2, 3, 4 millimeters. This is not a very critical dimension, but as long there is a relief, it is good to go. So we are wrapping up this particular part of the build series, which is press brake. And in the second part of this video, what we will be doing is we are going to machine. Now in this video we have already cut this to length, and this is a perfect size as you can see. So what we will do is we are going to create two milled faces which are again in the same degree, 90 degree, such that it can act as a press brake. So that would be for a different video which is going to come next. Thanks very much guys for watching. Hope to see you in part 2 of this build series. Till then, keep smiling and God bless.